So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fish Lyfe Podcast. As always, got Billy Lawson to my left. You're right.
Listen, it's a train wreck from the beginning. That's how we go. We're mixing things up, getting it backwards.
We lay the track as we go.
Yeah.
So you never know where the train's going.
This is not ever a real See, we can't even talk.
Spit it out.
We're hosting a radio show.
That's right.
And we can't complete sentences here. But that's what you get when you tune into this podcast.
That's right. And I don't know if you know this, but I paid a guy to mess with the drain plug of your boat. The most interesting man in the world for you guys watching on YouTube is...
I walked into my garage this evening, and to my surprise, there was a tall, skinny guy over here and a weird bearded dude in a suit behind my boat. I didn't really know what was going on.
I told him to fold up as many Dos Equis bottle caps as he possibly could and shove them up in your drain plug.
Welcome to my life, folks. I get home for the evening, I walk into my garage, and this guy's already messing with me before I've even... Like, what were you doing at my house?
I plead the fifth.
I may need to text my old lady and see what's been going on around here. I don't know. Some shady stuff happening, folks.
All right, so as many of y'all may know, there are some new things going on in the Fish Lyfe world.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot.
Hey, we got a special guest coming on tonight.
We do have a special guest.
We got a special guest coming.
That's right.
From one of our now famous Texas game wardens is going to be joining us tonight.
That's right, Mr. Heath Taylor.
Who also happens to be from Smashtech Custom Baits. We think it's absolutely ludicrous that he has not been on the TV show because he's clearly the best game warden in the state considering he makes the best swim baits in the state.
That's right. He'll write you a ticket for not having a fishing license and then sell you a swim bait.
He'll write you a ticket for using his bait.
That's right.
Illegally. If it's illegal. If you're using it, he will write you a ticket for using his bait illegally. I promise you that.
He sure will. So, the Fish Lyfe app.
Yep.
There's some new innovation.
Been a lot of changes.
Seen a lot of chatter. Would you care to touch on that for some of our subscribers?
Yes, absolutely. So, there has been a lot of changes on the Fish Lyfe app. It is now available nationwide. And what we did was we basically tried to make it where anybody can use it. It's more of a social media driven type deal where the user can upload their own fishing spots and all the users can share information with each other. And now you only have to pay $7 for a region. Now, we still have our same packages, our premium packages that we did before, which what those are is a guy like me who fishes Lake Fork every day or most days, gives you updated spots each and every month, always keeping the information fresh and the most accurate information you can get. There's a lot of labor goes into that. Those packages cost a little more, but this regional deal where you guys are going to be helping each other, $7 a month to participate in it and view all the spots. We also, me and my team of guys that are all full-time fishermen, really, really experienced guys, have a lot of time on the water. We went in there and preloaded most of the packages, the ones that we could, where we've either fished or we kind of have an idea of what goes on in that area, and we either put spots that we fished before this time of year, or we did some map study and some homework and some research and decided, okay, if I was going to this lake, where would I start? We preloaded. Some of these regions have over 100 spots already on them for $7 a month. I mean, you can't beat that. And one thing I would like to do, and I'll talk the folks listening on the Audible, the audio format, I'll talk them through it. But for the guys watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. I'll go ahead and get this app open here and I'll show you real quick. Basically, once you download the Fish Lyfe app and get on your phone, you're going to open it and it's going to open on the premium package page. But if you look down at the bottom of the page, you'll see a tab that says premium and a tab that says community. You'll simply click on the community tab and it'll open it up and have a list of all 11 regions. So then you can scroll through your regions and see which one suits your area. So if you live in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, or Louisiana, that's one of our regions. So those 4 states right here where we're at, you can subscribe to that. You get access to all 4 states, all the spots that get uploaded on those 4 states. And of course, we're trying to do this kind of halfway live action and my phone's not wanting to work. It started working now. So as you guys can see on the camera, there's all the regions. And then at the top of that page where you have the list of regions, there's going to be a tab that says suggest a spot. You will click that. You will go to the location that you're wanting to mark and tap the screen. is all you have to do. So I'm going to scroll over here to a lake, and we'll just put a spot on here right now. Let's go here to Lake Tawakoni, which I have zero experience on, but I have done some map study on, and I know one area that's good. And so I've got an area on Lake Tawakoni right now. I'm just going to simply tap the screen right there on that spot. Tap it once, and it'll drop a pin right there. You can then add your title and description right down below, hit submit, and you've now added a spot to the community app to help others catch more and bigger fish. And the whole goal of this thing, when I started it, was when we did the premium packages the first year, last year, it was just to access more people, to give more people better help catching more and bigger fish. And it was the most accurate way I could do it then. And then we, generated some revenue off that. We've made $0 off of this app. We've put everything we've made back into this app, really legitimately and honestly trying to build the best bass fishing app that's ever been created, and the one that's going to help the most people catch more and bigger fish than anything else that's ever been created in the world of bass fishing. That's what we're really trying to do. That's a big goal. That's a big task, but that's what we're trying to do. And so I'm kind of calling on all of you that are listening or watching to help me with this now on the community version. I need you to get on there. I need you to use it. I need you to add some info on there, and let's all help each other. Let's break this whole, hey, stay off my hole, that's my secret bait nonsense culture that exists in bass fishing. Listen, none of us are fishing, unless you're fishing on the Elite Series or the Classic, or you're fishing the MLFL, whatever the hell it's called now.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing that, bro, don't be like that. We're just all out here to have fun and catch some fish. Let's help each other, and then we'll get more people catching more fish. The sport will grow. More money will come into the sport. More people will be able to make their living in the sport, and it'll be a better thing.
That's right. And I can speak for Texas right now, and especially East Texas lakes. Mm-hmm. I think that right now, as far as the condition of all these lakes, a couple of them are a little low. These fisheries are as healthy as they have ever been.
We've had a lot of good spawns.
Yes.
That's the deal with that. So we've had a lot of high water or full lake conditions in all of our lakes in this region.
Yes. Over
the last 3 or 4 years in a row during the spawning period, mm-hmm. which has created what they call fry recruitment, a high fry recruitment, which means that a higher percentage of the fry has survived year to year because they have a lot of cover, a lot of flooded cover to hide in when they're newborn and defenseless.
That's right.
Because when the lakes are low, the sand bass and the crappie and the brim just decimate the fry population before they ever get a chance to get old enough to kind of run and hide and defend themselves. So we have a huge population of fish in most of our lakes right now, which means not only is it set up for success right now, but because we've continued to have these good spawns year after year, good fry recruitment year after year after year, this region is going to be set up for some great bass fishing for a long time to come at this point.
It's setting it up for a better tomorrow.
Because these fish that were born 4 years ago, they're pretty much grown now.
That's right.
They're not going anywhere. And they're going to live for another, some of them, at least 5 or 6 years. A lot of them 8, 9 year. The oldest though gets about that. But for a long time, we're going to have a heavy, dense population of fish.
They're going to get old enough to grow them big old bug eyes that we like.
I'm telling you. Do you know the deal about the bug eyes on the real big ones?
I don't know exactly what happens,
so,
but I know that's how you can tell.
With humans, for us, for human beings, our ears never stop growing. That's why, like your grandpa had them big old hairy ears. Mm-hmm. And I'm on my way. My ears are clearly bigger than yours, mm-hmm. probably because I was born a little bit ugly, but also because I'm older than you.
You're right.
I don't know. But, humans always, the old, senior citizens have really big ears. Ears never stop growing on human beings. Eyes on bass are the same way. The eyes never stop growing the older they get.
Really?
That's true.
I did not know that. Story. It makes sense, though.
I'm not a biologist, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Apparently, you stayed here.
All right. So, hey, we're going to go a little bit. This is great. This is what I want out of this, guys. We have a podcast request from a user.
Right? That is awesome. So we've got a question.
Correct. From
one of the viewers or listeners. That's. Please do send us that. By the way, we'll put the number on the screen again right now. Anything you want us to talk about, a topic you want discussed, a question, we will answer every single question and comment, everything that comes in. And you can always text those to us. Either comment on the video or the podcast that you're listening to. You can comment on your app on Podbean or on iTunes. You can leave us a comment. You can comment on YouTube. But anything you want talked about, you can do it that way. Or you can text us at the number on the screen right now, 903-519-1542.
That's correct. So the question is, discuss some bank fishing planning or tips and tricks from the bank.
Okay.
Grassroots, guys. This is how we all started this.
No doubt. Hey, man, I'm very, very fortunate and blessed. I've worked my way into a few of these boats right here that we got behind us, and You know, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love having it, but I can assure you that if I didn't have it, in fact, the video that this will air afterwards, but if you saw the video that aired last Monday, you saw me doing some bank fishing actually for the first time in a long time. I will bank fish when I have to. You know, the first thing you're going to need to know with any fishing trip, in my opinion, we kind of went over this on map study. You're going to need to do your homework and your research, and you're going to need to know general seasonal patterns. Like if you really want to do it as high of a success rate as you can, you want to do it to the best of your abilities, then you need that knowledge before you plan out your trip. And so what you need to do is think about what time of year. Like right now, you're going to need some deeper water. You're going to need some stretches that have a little, because it's cold water season. The water's about as cold as it ever gets right now. So right now, you're going to need those deeper water transition areas that you can make cast in deeper water, which is not always available everywhere when you're bank fishing. One place it usually is a bridge. You can fish the bridge corners, and you guys on Lake Fork specifically, one of the best places to bank fish kind of year round.
Yes,
is some of those bridge corners, especially the creek bridges where it condenses those fish as they travel in and out of the creek. So I'm looking for a couple things. I'm looking for seasonal patterns for the right depths, and then I'm looking for condensing areas. A lot of your bank fishing areas will be areas that condense down, whether it's a natural funnel point land-wise or whether it's a bridge that sucks them down through those gaps going through the bridge. Funnel points are going to anything when you're bank fishing that's going to increase the density of the fish in that area. So when they have to get to a small area, there's more fish per acre in that one little section. That's always going to put the odds in your favor. So right now, if I was going to Lake Fork, 100% first place I'm going to start bank fishing is going to be bridges where it narrows down like that. The creek bridges specifically. Because those fish are starting to migrate into those creeks, get into pre-spawn like we've talked about the last couple shows. And with that being said, as those fish migrate in, that's where they get condensed the most is through those bridges.
I call it a pinch point.
Same thing, funnel point, pinch point.
Yep, that's just
it just is putting more bass in less area. That's
right.
what you're looking for right now. And with deep water transition, and the bridge does that better than anything else.
That's right.
Now, another option would be if you have some access to some bank fishing area that has, if you can fish a dam. Right. We bank fished in a pond in that video that came out Monday, and there was a dam, and I walked up. The first thing I did, I walked up to Ben Millick, and he walked up to the first point he could access the pond from and started casting. And not that Ben doesn't know what he's doing by any means, but I said, Ben, golden rule of pond fishing, baby, you got to go to the dam first. And so I walked right down to the dam, and lo and behold, the fish that we caught out of that pond, we both caught off the dam. And so I'm always looking for that deepest water transition. If I've got bridges that don't have much water, like on Lake Conroe, there's some of those bridges that don't get good till a little bit closer to spawn time, like later in the pre-spawn, because some of those bridges don't have much water on them in the backs of those creeks on Lake Conroe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they're not as good right now. And so in that situation, I would be looking for maybe either a point or the dam or something that had that deep water transition.
Right.
That's the number one thing I'm going to look for right now.
Right.
Wherever I can fish the deepest water from the bank, and then if I can add a funnel point or a condensing area to that, now I'm in good shape. And the other advantage, see, there's advantages and disadvantages to every situation in fishing. There's no doubt about that. The advantage to fishing from the bank is you can tend to be a lot more thorough. You can do it in a boat, but nobody's ever nearly as thorough in a boat as you are from a bank.
That's right.
You can be more thorough. Well, use techniques that bring that strength into play. Use a drop shot. If I was bank fishing, I would absolutely use a drop shot. And I never use a drop shot.
Right.
But I would bank fishing. Use a Carolina rig. Use a finesse jig. Use baits that are apt to make you fish extremely, extremely slow. That's your advantage, especially in the wintertime. Your advantage is that you can sit there in one spot and fish it so methodically, you can pick up fish that nobody else will catch. So use that to your advantage, the idea that you're stuck in one spot. Don't think of it as, crap, I'm stuck in one spot. I can make it to your advantage.
Right. One thing I used to do growing up, whenever my buddies would invite me fishing on one of their ponds or something like that,
right?
The first thing I would always do was figure out what bait is in that lake. What bait lives in the pond?
Very good tip.
Because
that's going to dictate
from there,
profile,
exactly. It
color.
dictates so many things that we do in the game.
That's
of fishing.
another great tip. That's something I didn't talk on. That's absolutely something you need to do. Absolutely. The more knowledge you can gather about the fishery or the situation going into it, obviously, is going to be hugely to your advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially doing everything we do on a big lake,
right? Just
in a very much smaller area.
Yes.
You know, so yeah.
Good question.
Good question. Great question. I mean, we could talk on that for hours.
We could keep going. That's right.
So,
and it doesn't take much for me and you to just start talking fishing and get lost in the sauce and just kind of keep tracking all of that.
Yeah, we will.
That's pretty natural.
Yep. So, guys, again, as many questions as you want answered, fire them to us. We'll answer them on every show.
Yeah, we want to do that as much or more than anything that we do. We want to...
Y'all's feedback is very important.
Yes.
Because that's what this whole deal was built on. We want to know, we want to help y'all catch as many fish as possible, and we want to know what y'all need help with or what you want tips on, what you want to hear.
Now, you actually fished a little derby this weekend. Like a little something, not a big deal, not a lot of boats, just a little... Show up, sign up, go fish them and see it. And you didn't do too bad, right?
No, we did all right. We got second place. We got beat by 7 ounces.
Oh, really?
And do you want to hear the train wreck of what Saturday morning was?
I mean, why not?
Boy.
Wait a minute. Train wrecks is kind of our specialty, brother.
I mean, it's like you can't not look at them.
Right.
So, me and my fishing partner, he won't get mad about me telling the story because this is truly hilarious. You already, you heard the story. So we're working on our boats the night before. Had his 1-year-old out there helping us, little helper, and we're messing around with my boat. We wake up plenty early to go to the tournament the next morning. We get there early. We feel good. Launch the boat. Boat won't start. We're like, oh God. So partner runs to Walmart while I'm sitting there in the boat. Gets a battery, change a cranking battery, still won't start. We didn't check the kill switch. So
I would love to tell you that I've never been down that road in my life, but I've been in full panic mode.
Everybody's done it. Everybody's done it.
I didn't check the kill switch.
Yeah.
That's happened to me too.
We hit the kill switch, fired up. We're about 30, 45 minutes late fishing, but it worked out all right. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, man, let's see what old Heath Taylor's up to. Let's see if we can get him on the phone and get this party started the right way. I know he's going to have an interesting, dude, I can't talk tonight. An interesting perspective on a lot of the stuff we love to talk about. So we'll see what's going on.
Hello?
I swear I got my fishing license at home.
I've heard that.
Mr. Heath Taylor, how are you doing this evening, sir?
All doing well. How are y'all?
We're doing great, buddy. Hey, first of all, thank you very much for coming on here and doing this with us. We're going to pick your brain, ask you some weird questions, ask you some real questions, and none of it's probably going to make much sense, but we're going to do our best.
I'm good at that.
Yeah, I know you are. Me and you have spent enough hours talking about nothing in a boat. I'm well aware that this is going to go just exactly as disastrous as I hope it does.
Y'all just don't start singing like y'all usually do.
Are y'all going to be like the guys in Walmart? If I go in there to get a bag of dog food in uniform, after about 45 minutes later, after answering about 10 questions,
yeah,
I finally get out of there because everybody always has well, my brother told me, and I got a question for a friend of mine.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
What if I was to go hunting over here? Yeah.
There might be a few of those questions. I'm not going to promise you anything. First, though, we've got a couple questions that we ask every guest that Chris is fixing to throw at you. And this is really important. This is going to set the tone for what the audience and really what we personally think about you. So don't screw this up.
Yeah.
All right, Heath, you ready for the first question?
I'm ready.
This may be the most important question of the night, by the way.
Okay.
So, Biggie or Tupac?
See, I was a kid in that era, but I can honestly tell you that I was neither a fan of neither one actually. The little bit of rap that I did listen to would have probably been more the Snoop Dogg variety, but that was just a very little bit.
Tupac. That's what he said.
So
he said
yeah,
Tupac.
You said Tupac essentially. Okay, well that's fair.
West Coast. That's good
West
enough.
Coast all the way. Okay. Question number 2. If you could bring back a hairstyle, what hairstyle would you bring back?
That's not an insult. I know about your hair struggles, Heath.
Yeah, I don't struggle anymore. Remember, I just gave up.
That's right.
So, I just go to the barber shop and tell them to buzz it as close as they can get it every week or two.
That's right.
But, I've looked at some pictures from my growing up, and there were some rough times in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yes, sir.
Now, are we talking women's hairstyle or
No, men. Like, what if you could bring back a hairstyle and make it like popular so that you could rock it as well? What would it be?
It's It's hard not to go with the mullet just because that's such a staple.
It's a pretty popular answer.
It's a pretty popular answer from the guests we've had so far on these podcasts.
It's a staple, but
I think it might have to do with the red neckitude that our type of guests tend to have.
Yeah, it's a geographical thing. Because you can still see that the mullet is still alive. In
It is. So are we talking like John Daly, or are we talking like Billy Ray Cyrus?
I would think kind of in between, because I've even seen some women rocking that.
Yeah. And East Texas, you do see some women rocking the mullet. There's
Drinking some Mountain Dew.
Yeah, so, I'd go with mullet, probably number one, but the comb over is probably number two.
The comb over's solid.
The comb over. That is an original answer nobody has given yet.
The Sunday best comb over. I like it.
Because I grew up with the comb over being kind of a normal thing. My dad was rocking the comb over for years, and then I remember as kids we'd get in the swimming pool and the comb over would like fall off, and it'd be like he'd have like this one side of his hair was like 8 inches, 9 inches long, and he'd just kind of grab it and put it back on and put his cap back on.
Bro, you're killing me. I'm trying so hard not to laugh over you talking, and I am dying.
Do they make Polydent for a comb over?
Yeah, he needed some glue, so the comb over, and I had friends' dads that were rocking the comb over growing up too. So they slick bald on top, but they grow that one side.
Yeah.
Do you remember what was that Kingpin, the bowling movie Kingpin? Do you remember that?
Exactly.
Where Bill Murray had that hair going 18 different directions.
That's it.
That's the one.
That one would, if it would come back, I'd be happy. I probably wouldn't rock it, but it's still.
It would bring a lot of joy to a lot of people. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So what I
just love seeing it, because like you see people at church or a funeral, and they have to take their hat off, and you can tell they did the come over thing, and then they soaked it down with some hairspray to get it to kind of stay where it's going to be. Kind of glue it to the top of their head. So
that's right.
When I see a younger kid with a comb over, it just makes me think like, my mom made me do this because she wants people to think that I'd listen to instructions.
Yeah. Well, they call that like I forgot what they call that, the swoop and something. I don't know what but that's the new thing.
My goodness, yes.
Let's talk about some fishing. I think I've had all the comb over talk.
All right.
I'm about to die over here trying not to laugh.
All right. So for the listeners,
we just a little bit more on the hair thing. My dad, have you met my dad?
I've never met your dad. We've talked about him a lot.
Okay, well, he's about as manly a man as you get, but he actually went to cosmetology school, and he lasted all of about 2 weeks, I think. But and I asked him, I was like, "What's the deal with that?" And he was like, "Well, there was a lot of girls there." He said, and so I think he kind of ran through the girls at the cosmetology school, and then figured out that all the other guys that were there were batting for the.
Yeah.
What's the Adam Sandler movie where he wants to be a hairstylist, but he's a
Zohan?
Is that your dad?
You don't mess with the Zohan.
Is your dad the Zohan?
He was out on that. He dropped out. So the beauty school dropout thing was kind of fun.
That's kind of like in high school, a lot of us guys that picture ourselves as masculine guys played football and baseball and whatever else, and we all made fun of them guy cheerleaders. But let me tell you something.
I did too, and I got to college and I was like.
A little method to that madness now.
These guys maybe not that stupid.
That's right.
Yeah, they were looking at us going, yeah, I may have won the battle, but I'm going to win the war.
That's right.
So,
man. Get us on the fishing topic, Chris.
Great direction.
Yeah, we're starting out with a bang here.
Yeah, buddy. All right. So, for the listeners, Heath, owner of Smashtech Custom Baits.
That's right.
If you ask me, they're the best swim baits on the planet.
Don't tell him that while he's listening.
He knows that.
Oh, okay.
So, would you like to talk about some new innovation?
We can talk a little bit about that. I have not got to do as much new stuff as I've really wanted to this year, basically just because I haven't had time. Trying to keep up with the existing things has been kind of a full-time deal without...
Tackle Warehouse has been keeping you busy.
Yeah, without the full-time help that I used to have.
By the way, right now, just to let all the people know, Smashtech Custom Baits, like we said, great custom swim baits, a lot of awesome options in swim bait category. You can find those at smashtechbaits.com. You can also find them on Tackle Warehouse.
Exactly, and then there's you can go on our website and there's lots of dealers if you want to look for one close to you. A lot of places around Lake.
Local in our region, Lake Fork Marina probably has the best selection.
Yeah, then like Brandon's Bass Shop out in Powderly, they're supporters. So lots of those stores, but I do have. I've been trying to kind of get caught up to where I can release them because they're actually probably two of the baits that I'm probably the most excited about. Not anything necessarily new style-wise, but I felt like there was a kind of a hole between the 5-inch and the 7-inch gizzard shad.
Yep.
And I've been wanting a 6-inch for a long time. And I sat down and messed with it a long time ago, and I've got to fish with it, a little bit off and on throughout the year. And it's actually absolutely going to be my favorite size, probably.
I concur. You've given me one.
Of all three. Like I said, there hadn't been many slip out.
Yeah. You've given me one. I need more, but I agree. I think that will be my favorite size.
That puts you in the ballpark of so many different fish. That
it
size.
Does. Yeah.
Well, it's, a lot of people look at the 7-inch and they're like, what am I going to, the people that aren't swim bait people look at the 7-inch.
Right.
Think,
it's a little intimidating. Yep.
Big. That's too big. Well, and then the people that are swim bait people look at the 5-inch and they're like, well, that's too small.
Yeah.
And but the 6-inch is just a really, really good happy medium to kind of
100%.
still have that profile of a big swim bait, but still be light enough and small enough that you can throw it on a flipping stick, basically, really, if you wanted to.
That's right. I agree. No, it's great. It is great. And you said you had one more. What's the other one?
The other one's going to be the little bluegill. We've had the line through bluegill that's like 5.5 inches. We've had it out for a few years and done really well on it, and I like it a lot. But I got to looking, the last year or so, the last probably 2 years, the little bit that I've got to fish, and I looked down at, some of the lakes I fished that were clear enough, and around these grass patches, you'd see smaller bluegill, 3.5 to 4.5 inch bluegill. They're just everywhere.
They are. There's a lot of them.
And you're like, what? There's something to this because you're not seeing the bigger bluegill everywhere like you were the smaller ones. Well, I wanted to do a smaller bluegill, so we did a smaller 4.5 inch version, and it actually looks smaller than that. You can go to like Instagram, Facebook, see some pictures of it in my hand. It's real compact, but we're doing a line through and a weedless version in it.
Okay. Yeah, even on Lake Fork, when the brim get to spawning, bluegill brim, whatever you call it, when they get to spawning, I've noticed that the vast majority of the brim and bluegill that show up on those beds are not what we think of as like the big hand-sized bluegill. The vast majority of them are small.
Not the big palm size.
Yeah, most of them are small. And that bait, and I've seen that bait you made. You actually gave me one of those as well. It fits that profile perfectly.
Yeah, and I have not, like I was trying to think the other day, I've thrown that little line through quite a bit, and I don't know that I've ever went out and thrown it and not got bit. It gets bites, and it gets a lot of bites. It catches big fish, and you'll catch a 1 pounder on it, and they'll have it choked.
Yeah.
We caught some, when we did that last video that we did.
Yes, sir.
On it.
Yes, sir.
But I'm really excited to get to throw it this spring.
I am too. I think it'll be a great search bait that'll not only catch some big fish, but also cause some of these spawning bass to tell on herself a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it's going to be an awesome bed bait just because of its
the profile.
The other one's pretty big, and for a bed fish, they don't always suck the whole bait in the mouth. A lot of times they're pecking at it. Well, they're going to be able to suck this one in a lot easier than they were that big one.
I agree.
So I'm looking forward. I'm going to try to get a bunch of them done before the Fun and Sun show that's coming up in a couple weeks. I kind of want to touch on that real quick.
Go ahead.
We always go to the Fun and Sun tackle show. This year, it fell on a weekend different than it normally does. And I'm actually going to be in Mexico at Lake Comadero. But I'm going to have some guys that fish on the college teams at a couple different schools, SFA and I think ETBU and one of the local Northeast Texas community colleges up here, but I think he's transferring to SFA. So those guys are going to basically run up there, set up the booth for me, and run it. And so any y'all college guys, high school guys, one of the kids was Angler of the Year his senior year in the high school deal. So if any of y'all high school kids that are listening and college kids want to go by and visit and ask them how the transition was from high school to college and all that stuff, they'd be I'm sure they'd love to talk to you. But they're going to be up there kind of representing me and setting everything up for me. And I'm going to try to get a bunch of the new stuff up there for them to kind of sell and introduce to a lot of people that haven't got to put their hands on.
Absolutely, and I will do my best to be there as well. I don't know exactly what days or how long I'll be able to stay, but I will be up at the Fun and Sun show. And for those that are listening or watching, if you follow me on my social media outlets, once I get my schedule lined out and know when I'll be there, I will certainly announce when I will be at the Fun and Sun show, and you will find me in the Smashtech booth as well.
Yeah, no, I said I hate not being there.
Right.
That's the only tackle show we ever do the last few years, and I really enjoy getting to visit with everybody and talk to everybody.
It's a great tackle show. For the folks listening and watching, if you've never been to the Fun and Sun tackle show that's coming up, you know the dates on it offhand, Heath?
I want to say like the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
It'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday right there.
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever those days fall on.
It's a tremendous event. It's got a lot of tour pros. It's got a lot of social media guys. The big name social media guys show up there. It's a very, very good boat and tackle show with a lot of knowledge being passed and just a really cool place to hang out for a weekend, really.
Yeah, there's big name pros there. Aaron Martins and these guys will just walk around and visit with you. You can,
absolutely.
They'll come. It's good to have access. They give seminars throughout the day.
Yeah, and they're just regular guys that love fishing. You walk up to them and talk fishing with them, it's just like talking to your buddies. They don't mind it a bit. They enjoy doing it. They obviously got where they are because they started out with their passion and obsession with the sport, and they never really get tired of talking about it, just like we do. So it's really cool.
It's a blast. Like I said, I'll miss it, but hopefully I'll be catching fish in Mexico, so it'll be all right.
You'll miss it, but you'll have some good recovery time, something to keep your mind occupied.
I hear they're going pretty big down there.
I've been scrambling trying to get Tackle Warehouse orders out and some other stores out and get some stuff for the show before I leave because it's been a madhouse around here.
I understand.
With hunting season and everything.
Speaking of that, let's. I believe we got a couple of GW questions for you. Like we said, you are one of our fine Texas game wardens that helps preserve and keep and protect everybody that's out there in the outdoors and protect the waters and the woods and everything and all that, and protect the resource. So we're going to ask you a couple game warden questions.
Go ahead.
All right, Heath. So we're gonna go two directions on this. First is, what's the funniest thing you've ever seen as a game warden?
Oh,
that you can legally disclose.
I guess it would be depending on the definition of funny. Of course, you see people in, I guess you would say, compromising situations sometimes on a back road or out in the middle of the lake. Pulled up to boats and you think nobody's in the boat, and when you pull up to the boat and look over the side of the boat, they're definitely in the boat. And so there's stuff like that happens, and you see people. People will call you for the craziest of things. They'll call you for like a snake in their house, and they think I don't know if they think our job is animal control, but it's really not. But they'll call you because a bird fell out of a nest or something, and it's like a sparrow or something. I'd understand if it's like a bald eagle or or something like that. Then we'll go make sure it gets to a rehabilitator. But if a little sparrow falls out of its nest, there's not a lot you can do.
I always thought that was the fire department that you'd call for stuff like that.
They always get the cats out of the tree, but that reminds me, I actually did one time get a cat out of a tree in Pittsburgh in the park. I went and borrowed. It's kind of a funny story. I forgot all about this. This was probably 7-8 years ago. I'm talking, this cat was way up there, and I went and borrowed like this 20-foot extension ladder from the hardware store. I was like, hey, can I borrow y'all's extension ladder to go get a cat out of the tree? And they look at me like I'm crazy. And I was like, I'm dead serious. There's like this woman and this little kid that were sitting there trying to figure out how they were going to get it down. So I went and got it and pull it down, because you never know when you grab hold of a cat that's 20 foot on top of a tree whether it's going to latch on to you or you're going to latch on to it. So
the temperament was a question.
But everything was good, and you get the hero and everything. But I've had stuff like that. I've had somebody will call because there's a blue heron that has a crankbait, in its chin and chest. It's all pinned down. Well, I get there, I pull up to my boat because I would happen to be on the lake that day. I pull up, and the bird's standing on the retaining wall, and there's probably 20 people standing there watching it by now. All the neighbors who came by to look, because everybody's down on the weekend at their lake houses. Well, the stupid bird, when I get close to it, it jumps in the lake, and well, its chin is pinned to its chest, so its face is completely underwater. It's in there drowning. And so I'm sitting there going, well, this ain't going how I planned. I'm thinking the water's like knee deep now. So I jump in like uniform and all, and it goes about mid-belly. So I grab it and get my pliers and unhook it, set it up on the retaining wall, and of course everybody claps and everything. And now I'm like, well, now I'm all wet, gun's all wet. So I get in the boat and drive off, take the gun belt off, take my shoes, socks off, tie my socks to the console of my boat so they air dry going down the lake. So yeah, so all the stuff that you see on Lone Star Law is not exactly all the different things we do, you know, that show. But
I know one of my favorite ones. I don't get to watch very much TV at all. Heath, you know me, my schedule is pretty insane. But being good friends with you like I am, when it was coming out, I watched an episode or two just to see what the show was all about. One of my favorite ones was they had some people down there around Sam Rayburn that were like living at a campground. And they just couldn't understand that this game warden was trying to tell them, you cannot set up a permanent residence on this public camping land. And these people were just beside themselves that he was trying to tell them that. And it just made me go, golly, game wardens do a whole lot more than I ever knew they did.
No, that's the beauty of East Texas. Because, you know, there's places that I've rolled into, especially when I first came to this, you know, got out and came to this county and was learning the county. You know, I'd roll up into a place and you're like, man, this is pretty rough looking deer camp. And you go in there and are you pulling the yard and like a little girl come out from behind the little shed or trailer or whatever it was that they were living in, and you're like, what? You knock on the door and a lady comes and she's like, can I help you? And I'm like, this isn't a deer camp, is it? No, ma'am, this is, you know, they'll say, no, sir, this is our house. I'm like, oh, my bad. so you know, you just kind of leave and you're like, well, I guess so.
Yeah, there is some unique living situations in some of the more remote areas of East Texas. There's no doubt about that.
So what's the next question?
All right, so
this kind of falls on it all. You told us all the stories. I think this
the next one was going to be the craziest thing, and I'm talking about, like, when I say crazy, I mean like you get back in your truck or back in your boat and you just sit there and stare at your steering wheel for about 5 minutes, and you're like, did that really just happen?
Let me think. There was a really good one. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but you know, I've had you know, you catch spotlighters and stuff like that. You catch people, you know, that are hunting, and they tell you, well, I wasn't hunting, you know, after you sat there and watched them with binoculars or something. And I can remember a group of boys one time. It was really funny. I'm sitting there hiding along the shoreline, kind of in the brush on Bombs Island, and I'm watching these kids, and there's like 4 of them, and they're blowing duck calls and blowing goose calls, and there's like this group of geese. The lake was real low. There's a group of geese sitting on the sandbar, probably a couple 100 yards, 300 yards from them, and they're in the back of this cove, but there's houses all around. Well, I'm sitting there watching them. They start packing up, you know, picking up decoys. This one kid steps in the creek channel, goes up to his neck, and you know, it's wintertime, so he's freezing. They jump back in the boat and they get all their stuff together. Well, you know, normally when duck hunters get ready to leave, they put their guns in gun cases or in the gun box, and you know, they head on out. Well, I'm sitting there watching them. Every one of them's got their gun across their lap, and they're looking at these geese. I'm like, you know, there ain't no way they're gonna, you know, shoot from a moving boat, which is illegal, and all this good stuff. So, and plus you can't go jump them up with a boat or any kind of vehicle and shoot them on the water. You know, you have to be stationary. So I'm sitting there watching these guys, and all of a sudden, like, there's a house that's right past the geese. They start singing "Happy Birthday" to somebody on the back deck, and this is like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. They're singing "Happy Birthday." About that time, the geese jump up. All 4 or 5 of the boys start unloading their shotguns.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, this can't be happening. Like I'm sitting there watching these kids, so I just walk out to the edge of the water and I holler at them and wave them over to me. They pull up. There's not a life jacket among them. A couple of them I don't think had hunt license. There's unplugged shotguns, lead shot. You name it, they were doing it wrong. So crazy stuff like that. You just shake your head, and then there's tons of stories that are kind of like that. Just people that do stuff, and you're just like, what were you thinking? We had a guy. Here's a really good one. It happened this year. A guy shot a nearly 160-inch class deer here in Northeast Texas in Kent County. Which
that is unbelievable.
Yeah, it scored 158. They throw it on Facebook, and it was during bow season, and it got my attention. And this other game warden sent me a text. He's like, "Hey," he said, "this guy calls me and says that he kind of has his doubts about this guy, killing this deer on his property because he only has like an acre." Well, I go over there, and the guy's living in like one of those storage buildings, and he's made it into a house, which is kind of nice. And but he's laying there, doors wide open. He's taking a nap. I finally yell enough to wake him up. He comes to the door, and I ask him about the deer, and he's like, "Well, I didn't kill that deer." I was like, "Okay, well, who did?" And he tells me, and I kind of knew where that person lived, so I went and looked him up. Go to the door, and I was like, "Did you kill your big deer?" "Sure did." I said, "Can I see it?" He goes and grabs he'd already European, mounted it and everything. He had the skull. And I was like, "Wow, that's a good one." I was like, "Did you kill him right here behind your house?" Because he got a feeder like 100 yards from his porch.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I killed it right here." I was like, "Did you now?" And because 2 and 2 wasn't making 4. I said, "Well, what'd you kill it with?" "I killed it with a bow." And I look at him. I was like, one of those "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Is that your final answer?" kind of deal.
Yeah.
And he looks at me. He's like, "No, I killed it with a rifle." So he shot the deer off his back porch with a rifle during bow season, which ended up costing him about $7,000, I think.
Woo.
And everything was all said and done. So yeah, that one was pretty silly. That was one you get in the truck and you're like, man, that was a bad decision.
Ouch.
So,
some people just don't think in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, "Man," he said, I just couldn't pass it up." And you can almost understand because it's like, yeah, that's a giant deer, but
160-inch deer in this part of East Texas, that's dang near a unicorn, son.
That's a bit of a lifetime for sure.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Wow. Hit him with the next one, Chris.
We could talk game warden stories for hours. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure we could. We got one more we're gonna hit you with. Heath, go ahead, Chris.
Do you have any Monticello updates, by the way?
Actually, no. I wish I had more news. The only news, and it's just kind of like pacify news, is that supposedly somebody is looking into buying it, but they will not tell us whether it's another power company that's going to try to get it going again, turn it into natural gas, which would be very, very expensive, or if it's like a developer that's going to try to develop it. But long story short, no, other than somebody is looking at buying it. So there's no foreseeable news on whether the park's going to get back open, fishing access and all that. Mm-hmm. So I wish I had better news than that, but right now I don't.
I just figured you of all people might know, so.
Yeah, so that's where that's at for now.
All right. Well, hey, I got another question for you. If you weren't a bait maker or a game warden, what would you be doing?
Oh, man. See, it's kind of a weird deal because growing up, I could never see myself doing anything except being a game warden. That's all I wanted to do since I knew that there was such a thing. Since my dad was taking me hunting and we ran into the game warden to come check us. I was like, well, that's who I want to. That's what I want to do. That's who I want to be. That guy. Because I knew that if there was somebody that my dad was a little bit nervous around, then that's the guy I want to be. So it was kind of because it was funny because it's like, oh no, there comes the game warden. I was like, dang. I said, that guy's.
He must be important.
Yeah, he's pretty important, and he gets to ride around a truck and go check hunters and go out the lake all the time. I was like, that's the deal. So.
And I think I speak for everybody when I say that no matter if you're doing everything right to the T, when the game warden comes up on you, you're a little bit nervous at first,
right.
At least.
So, but most of the time that's the deal with why I would not want to do any other law enforcement job other than be a game warden. It just the way I explain that to people that kind of look at me weird sometimes when I say that. Probably 80 to 90% of the people that we come in contact with are doing absolutely nothing wrong.
Right.
Everything's good, and I get to sit there and visit with them, talk fish, talk hunting, stand around a fire at a deer camp, or sit there and talk to them about fishing, or grab the kid and throw them in my boat and go catch a couple crappies, show them where a brush pile is, or stuff like that. And there's the percentage that we have to either arrest or write tickets to or take to jail and stuff like that. But the bigger percentage is just good people that we get to go visit with.
Right.
The bad guys we do deal with, they've got guns, and that's kind of an advantage that I know they're going to have a gun. Every time I stop somebody that's spotlighting or road hunting or something like that. Whereas your other forms of law enforcement, a deputy or a trooper, the only reason they're talking to somebody is because they've done something wrong.
Right.
They've either saw them do something, not turn on their blinker, or they're speeding, or they ran a stop sign, or they're getting called to their house for a domestic disturbance or something. So every time, just about, unless they see them at lunch or something, every contact they make, somebody's doing something wrong. So there's already a kind of a negative thing going on.
Right.
But kind of to answer your question in a roundabout way, I really don't know, because I did a lot of different jobs, I guess. I never wanted another career other than being a game warden.
I know what you would be doing if you weren't game wardening or making baits. You'd be a dang fishing guide.
That's probably close. I don't know that I could ever be a bass guide, just because the way I like to bass fish is not real suited.
It's not conducive to consistency.
To being a guide. I'll just just plain and simple. Now, I used to tournament fish, and of course growing up, like most people our age, and even before that, I wanted to be a professional fisherman growing up too. I wanted to be a game warden and a professional fisherman. Those were my two goals. Well, I got into tournaments and stuff, and fished a lot of tournaments up until I went through the Game Warden Academy and got out, and I kind of fished one or two here and there, but my schedule doesn't allow me the time to really mess with tournaments anymore. So that was it. I probably would do some guiding. I like crappie guiding. I actually did that a little bit part time when I was working for a lake patrol agency. Before I got in the Game Warden Academy, I did some crappie guiding part time. And when I retire, I'll probably do still do the bait company, and I may do a little bit of guiding on the side. I don't know. It just depends on what schedule allows. But you may be right. And of course, the bait making thing was never really that was never really something in my brain that I thought would ever happen. To put it, I guess, honestly, that's something that just kind of happened.
Right.
It was just one of those deals that came out of me wanting to do my own thing and make my own baits, and it turned into making baits for a few other people, and then selling some at Lakeport Marina, and then it turned into, well, gosh, I guess we'll just go ahead and turn this into something, and then it's kind of exploded to where it's at now. And I feel like we could probably grow it even bigger if I had the time and to actually devote full time to it. But I'm not going to quit doing what I love, being a game warden too.
Yeah, we've had that discussion between me and you several times of, do you ever want to grow this thing? And I know your answer is always that you just love serving the public. You love being a game warden. You love what you do in that role so much that you don't ever want to let that go. And hey, man, at the end of the day, you make some great baits, and those of us that get to fish with them appreciate it. But you're doing what you love to do, and it's an admirable position. You are serving the greater good, you are serving the public, and you are serving the betterment of the outdoors resources, which we all get to enjoy. So, nobody's ever going to knock you for that, obviously, and it's just good that, we're both lucky people, me and you, Heath, that we get to go to work every day and do something that we truly love and enjoy doing, and keep our families comfortable doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you would have told me, of course, I've always wanted to be a game warden, and like I said, it took me a long time to get in the academy and get that, kind of achieve that goal. But if you would have told me growing up watching Bassmasters on TV and following bass fishing, if you would have told me that, 20 years later or 30 years later that I was going to be making videos with a guy on the internet, throwing swim baits and making my own swim baits and selling them at the Packer Warehouse, and having Elite Series guys drop by the shop to pick up baits, and getting phone calls and messages from guys that fish, professional circuits and stuff, I'd have told you were crazy.
Yeah.
I know. It's blown my mind, that aspect of it. I'm still a fan, and I'm still a fan of the sport, and it kind of geeks you out sometimes. But
yep.
You get off the phone with somebody, you're like, dude, that dude's won a Bassmaster Classic. He just told me. Or you walked up to Jordan Lee at the Classic in last year in Tennessee, and I'm wearing a Smashtech shirt, and he's like, hey, I got some of those baits, and you're like, well, kind of crazy, So that aspect of the whole deal blows my mind still.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. It is, and same thing here. 7-8 years ago, if you'd have told me that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I would have told you there's no way. It's not possible.
Well, and I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to remember how many years we've worked together, Billy, but probably
it's been about 3 or 4, I think.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I remember when you came to me and was talking. You were just guiding, and we were talking about this YouTube thing. And I hadn't watched YouTube that much. And you were like, hey, here's what I'm thinking of doing. In my mind, I was like,
yeah.
I don't know about that,
You weren't the only one that told me that.
Well, and I know we're going to probably go off in the left field a little bit, but I was honestly like, okay, well, we'll see where it goes, And it's become, and I know me and you have talked about this, it's become probably a way bigger part. I know it's a bigger part than I ever thought it would be in the whole realm of the fishing world.
Right. Yeah.
It's blown my mind seeing, and I know it's, talking with other people in the industry and stuff, that the YouTube, I guess you'd say YouTube fishermen, are moving the needle more so than a lot of the professional fishermen are.
Absolutely, 100% they are, and I mean
it's blowing my mind, because you'll see some of these guys, some of these guys that kind of started the big YouTube craze, they're throwing a video up and they're getting 30,000 views in a matter of hours.
Yep.
And it's
sometimes more than that.
The reach is incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of exposure that they're getting that professional bass fishermen aren't getting now. And I love following it, all the different tours out there, but it's getting to the point where, and some of them have figured that out, that they're going to have to cross over into that YouTube world. More
and more every day, you see guys that are big name tour guys that are starting to really concentrate a lot more on their social media outreach and their social media content production and all that stuff. And there's no doubt it's here to stay. It's a big part of our industry. It's a big part of every business in the world at this point. Really it is. And if you want to be relevant in the professional fishing world, it's great that you can catch them, but you better get some exposure so you can move some product, or you're not going to have anybody want to work with you.
That's where people are getting their information now. They're not, when we were growing up, you waited till Saturday or Sunday mornings to turn on TNN and watch the Bassmasters. That's the only tournament bass fishing exposure you got. That was it.
100%.
Now they've got a steady diet of videos that a lot of these guys are putting out, like a daily video.
Well, that, and like, I remember I used to always watch every Hank Parker show, every Bill Dance show, every Jimmy Houston show, every fishing show that I could find. I would watch them all religiously, and it was all in a quest to learn more about bass fishing is what I was always doing when I watched the Bassmasters. Yeah, it was entertaining. I liked the competition and the sport aspect of it, but I was also there trying to learn something. Well, now there's unlimited information to consume, and anybody can put it out there. So it's up to the guy that wants to put the most effort into it. And then on top of that, if you have the skills, and the public, the consuming public will be the judge of whether or not you have the ability to inform, teach, and entertain. They're going to decide that. And the cool part is, like, I'm not great. I'm not the best fisherman on earth. I'm not the best fisherman on Lake Fork. I'm not the best teacher of fishing on Lake Fork. But I do it good enough to help myself run my business. I get, enough people like what I do and appreciate what I do and are a fan of what I do, where I can run a very successful business through utilizing it. And if social media didn't exist in the capacity it does today, there's zero chance that I could have worked my way into the full-time fishing industry as fast as I did. There's no way I could have done that. So
yeah, no doubt. And it's helped, my business grow.
Absolutely.
From doing the stuff that we've done together.
Absolutely. Well, the first video we did back in the day on Lake Monticello, me and Andrew with the big swim baits. I mean, I remember we got a lot of views in California because it was a big swim bait video. And these were people that got introduced to Smashtech that were all the way over in California that didn't have a clue who Smashtech was. And that helps you. It also helps me in my exposure. I've gotten customers come all the way from California to fish over here with me because of that. And so it's just a real good symbiotic relationship for any tackle company to work with social media guys that are, especially the social media guys that, I try my best to do things the right way for the right reasons and stay true to the sport and the pureness of going out and trying to catch the biggest 5 fish you can on big lakes and public water and all that stuff. I'm not doing, pond hopping videos because that's what's getting clicks. I'm trying to stay true to what I believe in and what I love. And I think if you get somebody like that, he doesn't have to be real big, and you've seen this, you can back me up. I don't have to be a real big channel to move a significant amount of product because there's just so much exposure, and you're always hitting new demographics and new people that didn't know that product existed before.
No, exactly, and you're seeing a trend of some of these companies are investing.
Yes.
In a different, I guess a different marketing brand.
Right.
I don't know if it'd be the right term, but they're taking their money. Well, look at 6 Cents, great company. He's got Milliken has his own line of rods.
Yep.
And
he's got Luke Duncan, Darian is fishing. We were all just together, and that's not the only ones. They got a guy, Noah Pescatelli, does a great job on social media for him. Like, yeah, I mean, 6 Cents.
The whole Guggen Bait Company deal came out of YouTube guys.
Yeah, them suckers couldn't catch a cold in Alaska for the most. No, I'm just kidding. No, they are better fishermen than they get credit for. I will say that they are, but they're not like, with the exception of Justin Rackley, none of them have ever made a run at being a professional angler. None of them have ever made a run at being a fishing guide, and they know what it is. But the bottom line is they're passionate about fishing. They create entertaining, high quality content, and a ton of people watch what they do, and it's exposure. And that's a big part of the business.
If you would have told me 5 years ago that some guys on YouTube would have their own bait company, endorsing rods and selling them out as fast as they can stick them on shelves, I would have told you you're crazy.
Well, how about this? And we've talked about this before on this show, but how about this? I happen to have, close enough relationships with some of those guys. I know some of the numbers I know some of the analytics behind what they're doing. There's 5 of them, or maybe 6 of them now, but one of their channels gets 2 million views a week. 52 weeks a year. That's over 100 million views a year. That's only one of the channels. Now, how many times has the Bassmaster Classic or the entire season of the Elite Series been viewed 100 million times?
Exactly.
Probably never. It has become the biggest entity in fishing. This social media game and the guys that are at the very top of it, like those guys, like Ben Milliken, like the other ones, those guys are the biggest thing in the sport of fishing. They are bigger than the tournaments are now.
Yeah, it was really eye-opening, I guess, 2 years ago at the Fun and Sun show.
I remember this. Yep.
We're sitting there on Sunday, and I'm talking like Hackney, Zaldane, Faircloth,
Alan Jones,
Alan Jones. They're all standing around, And
this was the first time that the Guggen guys came up there to do a meet and greet during the Fun and Sun show. Right.
Yeah, and all of a sudden these kids start coming in, and I'm talking a line
Out the door.
that's about 150 yards long.
Yeah.
And they're all there to see the Guggen guys. Well, the door rolls open, and there's kids hopping up and down, screaming like Elvis just walked in the building.
Mm-hmm.
And they're up there getting their autographs and stuff. Well, these kids come through the booth after, they go through the autograph line, and Todd Faircloth's standing there talking to Mr. Stan. And the kid's got autographs on his hat, and Stan says something to him. He goes, "Hey, she got some autographs." He goes, "Todd Faircloth's right over there. One of the best fishermen on the planet."
Yeah.
And the kid looks at him. He's like, "Who's Todd Faircloth?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, he fishes the Elite Series." And the kid looks at him and goes, "What's the Elite Series?"
And that's a perfect example of what we're talking about, where it's exposing new people to the product all the time that we didn't even know we had exposure to until the social media deal came in.
My mind was completely blown in that moment. I was like, this is way more than I even thought.
Yep.
As far as, bringing kids into fishing, getting them exposed to fishing, and getting them involved in something. It blows my mind, because all we had was Bill Dance and Jimmy Houston and Parker
That's right.
and David Fritz and all those guys growing up. And like I said, we got to see them once a week if we happened to catch it, because we couldn't DVR it.
You couldn't DVR back then.
My mom would actually put the VCR and set it to record for me. Like if I was going to be gone fishing or going hunting,
Yep.
she would record it. I've probably still got them at my mom's house somewhere. Old VHS tapes of Bill Dance and Jimmy Houston and stuff like that. That's how we got our information. Now they got it in their palm of their hand.
That's right. That's right.
It's crazy. So, like I said, I can ramble about fishing.
Yeah, we're all guilty of that,
forever.
man. I know we've kept you on the phone all night. We're going to go ahead and let you go. But, dude, once again, man, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thanks for all the inside look at the world of game wardening and the bait business and everything, man. We really appreciate everything that you always do to help us. So, thank you.
You bet. Appreciate y'all.
All right, thank you, Heath.
Have a good one, bud.
All right, see y'all.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you.
that dude right
At
there.
the end of the day, that's my guy.
dude's nails.
There ain't many people on earth I'm taking over that one in any situation. That dude, he will do anything for anybody. He's one of them old school. They broke the mold when they made him types. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? Like in my life, there's like Papaw, there's Chesty Puller, because I'm a Marine and you Marines know what I'm talking about. And then there's Heath Taylor, and there's really not. That's kind of the order it goes in for me.
Yeah.
He's an unbelievable person. He's one of my dearest friends on earth, and I'm proud to be able to say that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've spent a little bit of time with him. He's a great dude, man.
He's the type of guy you don't even have to know him. In fact, this is a true story. We've talked about Ben Milliken on those podcasts because he was on the first one as our first guest, and then I just fished with him for dang near a week last week. But back in the day when me and Milliken first knew each other, Ben was down here on a trip, and we fished the first day together on Lake Fork. Then he went down to Rayburn, come back up, and hit a couple other lakes. And he was on his way out of town, and he broke down outside of Mount Pleasant, Texas, which Heath lives in Pittsburgh, Texas,
Correct.
which is 30 minutes away, something like that. They're fairly close to each other. And it was like 1 or 2 in the morning. And Ben broke down, and he's on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere between East Texas towns, and he didn't know anybody around here but me. So he calls me or texts me or something. And I got on the horn to Heath, and Heath got up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to go help somebody he's never met. And that's who Heath Taylor is. That wasn't a game warden deal. That wasn't an on-duty thing. That's just Heath being Heath. That's who he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Great dude. So, it's January.
It's January.
You know what that means?
New year, baby. It's time for a new season to start.
New season, baby. So, do we want to talk a little bit about would you even call them circuits anymore? Because they're pretty much all.
I don't know what's going on. The world of tournament bass fishing has been turned on its ear quite obviously over the last year and a half or whatever it's been now, year and change. I do know that the
FLW.
I can't talk to
The FLW.
Fucks at home. Hey, you might need a doobie to deal with the FLW anymore because it's got 37 different names and 37 different weigh-in formats apparently. But no, the FLW Tour level event, which is now the MLFLW or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It starts right here in Texas, Southeast Texas. Big Sam Rayburn.
That's right.
Here in just 2 or 3 weeks. January 20-something is that first big tour event under the MLF leadership. So I'm looking forward to that.
I just want to see how they deal with it. I call it the alphabet series because it's got so many letters now.
The alphabets, that's it. We had a kid in the Marine Corps in boot camp, and he was Russian, and his name started with a K, and it was like 20-something letters long, and we called the drill instructors all called him Recruit Alphabet.
It's funny.
Because he had a whole dang alphabet in his last name, you know. And I still couldn't pronounce his name to this day if you asked me to. We just called him Special K.
Special K.
That's it. Anyways, I'm looking forward to seeing how this works out under the new MLF leadership. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, we're all fans of this sport.
That's right.
I'm fans of the social media guys. I love watching what they do. I love watching them grow even more than watching their content. I love seeing what they're doing in the sport to grow the sport. I love all that. But I also still love tournament fishing. It's fun, guys. Fishing a tournament is fun. And you know what? Whether you're trying to catch as many as you can or whether you're trying to catch the best 5, you're going to compete as hard as you can. And if you win, it's going to feel awesome. When you lose, it's going to feel like somebody kicked you in the sack all day. And I'm looking forward to seeing a new format. Like, I'm not disappointed that there's a new format. I'm disappointed at some of the ways that it took place and some of the hostility between the brands and all that. Like, I don't want to see all of that. I don't think that's great. But I am looking forward to seeing even another format and style of fishing coming forward. And I'm really looking forward to watching the first FLW event.
And make no mistake about it, listeners, these guys that are fishing these different events, whether it be BPT, the Alphabet Series, or
the Alphabet
MLF, it doesn't matter. All these guys are hammers. Like, let's not forget that part of it. And it's still exciting to watch these events. Because no matter what the format is, it's still going to be exciting to see the events transpire. And so that's kind of where I'm at with the new tournament stuff going on. I mean, you're still going to watch it. Like, you can be upset about how they format it, weighing best 5, weighing 101 pounders. It doesn't matter. You're still going to watch it. Because you're going to want to see what happens.
100%. And, I think maybe, going forward on podcasts, I would like to dive into this topic. As we get into tournament season, there's going to be more tournament stuff to talk about.
That's right.
And so maybe we need to kind of have a segment on every podcast going forward. Drop us a comment. Let us know if you like that is strictly pertaining to the tournament fishing world, the professional tournament fishing world at the top level. Because, like I said, man, it's certainly not boring.
No.
It's certainly not boring the last couple of years. It definitely is keeping everybody on their toes, and now everybody's kind of picking sides. And I'm sitting back here like
all y'all my friends.
I'm back here like, that was kind of messed up, but y'all still my dog too. Like, this is still my homie. Back in the day, we went to different schools together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, it'd be a deal like, this will never happen, but if I fished the Elite Series and you were fishing, whatever, like, we're still boys. Like, I don't understand the animosity just because you fish a different series. Right. But anyways, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, and the Elite Series has got a couple of their hammers back now.
Right.
And the MLF has added a couple of other hammers. I mean, Brian Thrift and David Dudley are two of the best fishermen that's ever lived.
I'm going to tell you right now, Brian Thrift is a top 3 for me as far as favorite fishermen on planet Earth, and he might be one of the best on planet Earth.
Well, and maybe not so much the last couple. I know he had a good year this last year, but there was a stretch where David Dudley kind of slipped a little bit. But, man, there was a long period of time, and this was in the old FLW Tour days, when it was like, whew, like it was really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
And there was some really good fishermen on it. And David Dudley was like KVD dominant.
That's right.
Like it was KVD and David Dudley, and there wasn't a real big gap there for a while as far as the perceived, who's the best in the world deal. And so it'll be interesting to see how he performs. And I think both of those guys, and this is just kind of a little bit of I don't want to knock the FLW Tour back then, but the FLW over the years has had a little bit of a reputation, and they've earned it, of going to lakes that require you to catch a little bit smaller fish.
Beaver Lake is a prime example.
Yes, some lakes that can be tougher, more of a challenge. And I think that was kind of the branding they were trying to go for. We're going to make it a challenge on these guys to show how good they really are.
I think so too.
And that was great, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to see people catch big fish.
Yeah,
I want to catch the biggest fish I can. You do too. Everybody wants to see that. But I think because of that background, Dudley and Thrift went through that FLW Tour for so many years where they were fishing lakes that are tougher to get bites on.
Now look at them.
They're going to go to these lakes that are good, and they're going to catch big numbers, which is going to probably lend them to be pretty successful in the format that exists on MLF. I mean, that's total speculation, but hey, we're a fan of the sport. That's what we do. If you're a fan of, like, who doesn't like to predict who's going to win the division in the football, whatever. Exactly. That's what we're doing. And I think these two guys with that kind of particular background, Mark Pack, legendary guy up here at Lake Fork, Mark Pack, used to fish on the FLW, actually won a tour level event on the FLW tour. He used to kind of, behind closed doors, he called it the Fishing Little Worms tour, because everywhere you went, you're throwing a shaky hand and a drop shot, and that's what they won on. And that's some stuff, you know, those techniques and those type of trainings at the highest level, I think are going to lend Thrift and Dudley to be dangerous in this format.
Dude, so Beaver Lake sticks out in my head as far as...
That's where Pack won.
Yeah, you're going to catch a lot of little fish. 12 pounds is going to get you in a pretty good spot each day.
Yeah, Beaver Lake is one where, you know, just catching those, you know, if you can catch those 3 1/4 pounders and not 2 3/4 pounders, then you're going to win.
Yeah. A very small window, but you also know, I know you know this, I don't know if everybody else knows this, that lake can be as tough as Lake Fork.
Oh, when it gets bright and calm on Beaver Lake, it can be the toughest lake in the country.
Correct.
And that's what all the guys say. If the wind don't blow, you don't go on Beaver Lake. Like, it can be real tough.
So you take a guy that has made his career out of fishing lakes similar to that, and then you put him on the Tennessee River or something like that, or the Potomac or the St. John's.
But he still has those finesse tendencies, numbers tendencies, because when it's tough to get bites, you got to do whatever you can to get as many bites as you can. Right. And then you take him on a good fishery where they're biting, and he uses those same techniques to get a lot of bites.
Buddy boy.
Because he gets to count every fish.
Yeah.
Watch out. Watch out now. And not that there's not plenty of guys already on the MLF that can do that too.
Right, exactly. We're not saying that. Yeah, no. But I remember turning on FLW, and you know, I watched it all growing up, and I'd be like, okay, is it going to be Dudley? Is it going to be Thrift? Or is it going to be Scott Morton? Yeah. And like, those are typically the three you look for. So,
to set the record straight, before I say something, I want to say something else, because I'm fixing to make some people frustrated if they're listening. If they're still listening at this point, I'm fixing to upset a few people, and that's just how it is. And we're going to do it. I'm going to give you my opinion, my honest opinion, and if you don't like it, then you can dog cuss me in the comments, and I won't delete them. By the way, I won't. We'll leave them there. I'll even tell you thank you. But
Cowboy, take me away.
To me, before I say this next thing, I got to put this out there for clarification. To me, the best 5 format, the 5 biggest fish of the day, that is the truest test and the truest form of tournament competitive bass fishing.
I agree.
I think that's the best way to do it.
I agree.
Especially if you're going to pre-fish and all that and have the best fish in the world. That's the best way to do it. So I like the Elite Series for that aspect right there. I really do. And the Elite Series has an unbelievably talented field. We've got one of our local guys here from Lake Fork. That's right. A couple of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, we actually have several that have come originally from, but one of the recent guys that got added is from here at Lake Fork. But there's no doubt. Like, I don't even think it's an argument that the MLF has the most talented fishing field.
Yes.
I think they have the best field of angler talent.
And I agree with you. I agree with you 100% right now. After next year, we might be talking about something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, after what we saw,
for a lot of guys.
Well, and you know, every year they stay in, it costs them less money to get out. You know about that, right? Yes. Like, it's an X amount per year that it costs them to break the contract.
I've done a lot of homework on this, and
so there could be a mass exodus. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the Palaniuk and Swindle deal, that's just the tip of the iceberg here. We still got, you know, the biggest part of the iceberg is underwater.
That's right.
So there's still a lot of shakeups to come in the next year. But I'm excited to see.
It'll be interesting to see. First, I just want to get this year going and enjoy watching it and see how everything shakes out this year. But you're right. When we come to the end of next season, when we come to the end of this season.
Yeah, this season right here.
It will be very interesting to see, because it's going to be a matter of how many of those bridges have been burnt to a point where they can't be mended. Because I think there is some of that.
I think there is.
Like, I think you know, hey,
there's a lot of animosity from within.
I'm pretty sure Iaconelli's gone, from what I've heard. Just some backroom chatter and some stuff. You know, do get to hear a little bit of inside information. And there's a few other guys, and Iaconelli's just the biggest name, because Iaconelli's arguably the biggest name in bass fishing over the last 20 years or 15, whatever he's been. But I think he's gone. Yeah. I think his bridge is burnt beyond repair. And there's several other big names that I feel like are that way too, from what I've been told. But things can change.
Oh, yeah.
The MLF can change their relationship with their anglers over this year. They can improve that. I don't have much faith in them doing that. The bottom line is, obviously, if a dude's willing to pay $50,000 to leave your organization, you have done some serious mishandling of your tournament anglers. And BASS is not the good guys here.
No, they're not.
They are the reason this happened. The way they mistreated the anglers, or took advantage of them, however you want to put it out there, is the reason all this chaos has started in the first place.
Correct.
But the guys that have the whole world in the palm of their hands are kind of throwing it out. Like, they're kind of dropping the ball in a big way, because They're obviously not making their anglers happy, and that was what this whole point was of this deal, is to have a better format, better payout, and treat the anglers better and take care of them better. Obviously, they're not doing that. I mean, I know there's some on there that would come on here and tell you that's a lie, and anglers are happy, and they're just, those guys wanted to do it because they want. Listen, I get all the niceties and the playing the politics that Polnick and Swindle and on the other side, Timmy Horton and Boyd and all them are doing.
Yeah.
Bro, they're not paying $50,000 to leave you because they're happy with you.
No, they're not.
They are upset with something that you have done. Very $50,000 upset.
And you know what? I think the funniest thing, and I'd say the funniest thing, but that's what. Anyways, the funniest thing about all this is I don't really know either which way that we'll ever get to the bottom dollar what actually went on. Like, it'll be a lot of speculation, and it'll just be divided houses, and then they'll go their separate ways, and then you'll have people just hopping over things back and forth.
I don't think we ever will get to the exact details of what it was either, to be honest with you. I really don't. But
which is fine.
Which is fine. It is fine.
Because it gives us stuff to talk about.
I can tell you this, for the people that are paying attention, like you said, the end of this next season will tell a lot of the tale, buddy. So, it sure will. And then the season after that will tell even more.
Here's what I would like to see. And guys, make no mistake about it, I watch it all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we're watching all of them. That's right.
We're going to watch them all, regardless. The MLF format, it's a level playing field. The Elite Series is a level playing field, in my opinion, because they all have a lot of the same allotted time to practice and all that good stuff. And
they're both fair. They're both fair formats.
Completely fair.
Right.
But what I would like to see on the MLF side is you basically do it in tiers. So you'll have a cut line each one. Let's say there's 4 different cuts you got to make. And at the end you have 10 anglers. Okay, well what you do is you can do it the way they do it right now. Every fish counts, every score bass counts. You do that until you get to a certain cut point. And then what you do is you take the biggest average size of fish that's getting caught on each lake. Then you give these guys a day of practice and then weigh a best 5. Then you cut them there.
They're kind of doing that on the FLW now.
FLW, yes, to my
They're
understanding.
kind of doing a mix of both.
But
I'll be honest with you, the FLW tour, it's so confusing.
It is.
I don't really know what they're doing. I just know they're doing something each.
But I want to see that MLF field, man. I want to see those guys do it. And I think after next year,
I want to see those guys swing the hammer too. To me, I think that the original MLF, the MLF Cup, the TV show only.
Awesome. Brilliant.
I think that is perfect for this every fish counts format.
Yes.
I think when you go out and pre-fish and you have guys fishing for 4 or 5 days, whatever it is, I think it needs to be a best something. It can be a best 10.
Yeah.
It can be best 15, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be best 5.
Yeah, set your standard and hold to it.
It needs to be best something. Like, you don't need to count every fish when you got the best anglers in the world pre-fishing and practicing and all that. I do not want Aaron Martins and Greg Hackney to go out there and find the biggest schools of 1-pounders they can. I don't want to see Edwin Evers find the biggest school of 1-pounders that he can.
Yeah.
I know he's real good. I know he can catch 1-pounders. They all can. It really becomes a coin flip on who finds the biggest school of 1-pounders.
That's right.
It's kind of a random, it's not a true test of their skills. Catching those big fish is anybody that's ever bass fished knows it's way harder to catch 1 10-pounder than 5 2-pounders.
100%.
It's way harder. You can't even measure it. It's so much harder. Let's really test their abilities, and let's see these guys do what they do best. They're the best bass fishermen on the planet. Let's put them to the best test.
I want to see Jacob Wheeler on the Elite side again. Because
I don't want to see him on the Elite side. I want to see Jacob Wheeler compete against a field he competes against now in a best 5 or a best 10.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I want, because that dude has the reputation of catching every fish in the lake.
He's good.
Good God.
But he's good at everything, every aspect of fishing. Because I don't know, how some of the really devout fans are going to know this. He won Junior All-Americans. He won BFL National Championships. He won an FLW Forest Wood Cup when he was 19 or something crazy.
He's done it all.
The first time he fished against the Bassmaster Elite Series field, when it was the Bassmaster Elite Series, when it was really elite, he won the event the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. The dude is probably the hottest fisherman on the planet. I'm not going to say he's the best, because obviously time will tell. Now,
I think he is the best.
Well, his credentials leading up to are hard to argue that.
I think he is the best.
He very well may be, but we're not going to know the best 5 side offhand against that field.
Well, I think he had enough time and proved it enough over there through all those junior championship, BFL, Forest Wood Cup,
Right.
Elite Series events, the first one, the Bass Fest in Tennessee back then.
Right.
I think he showed us enough there to prove that we know he can do that too.
Well, in the Classic last year,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he was right there.
I know. He's so
Yeah,
good.
He is, man.
That sucker's goofy to run over duck, but he's good at fishing.
Oh, dude,
I know
he's
that.
good.
He's an awkward fellow, though. He's an awkward fellow.
I watch his YouTube channel a lot, and I'm just amazed.
Oh, he's awesome. And that's another thing I appreciate about him. I appreciate about Jacob Wheeler is that he does create a lot of content, and he does. You know, of course, this is similar to what I try to do, so of course I'm going to relate to that and appreciate it. But he does try to make very good, very informative, instructional content, and he does a great job doing it. He's a great guy to follow on social media and YouTube and all that and learn from.
Yes, 100%.
So it means that he's not, worried about his secrets and all that stuff.
That's
He's
right.
just, he wants everybody, he loves the
Right.
sport, basically.
Well,
is
and
what
all
he
them
does.
guys that he rooms with, Dustin Connell's the same way, MDJ's the same way.
Yeah.
Like all them guys, they all collaborate. And
One who I like a lot is Latimer.
I like
Brian
Latimer.
Latimer.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let's, I know we've been going for a while, but we're talking about Tour Talk. The Opens this year.
Yeah, buddy.
Son, if you're just a regular guy that wants to fish the Opens to have some fun, you signed up for the wrong derby this year,
You
bud.
might want to stay at home because you're going to be fishing against some freaking sticks.
I'm not so sure that the open field is not stronger than an FLW Tour level field.
It is definitely an argument worth having.
Pretty close, at least on the very top, like the top 20 or 30.
Right.
It's probably equal to the top 20 or 30 on the Elite Series
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
as far as fishing talent. Mm-hmm. The Bassmaster Opens all of a sudden might be the best tournament trail on earth. Like, holy cow, is there some guys fishing that?
You ain't going to see the 03 Skeeter dumping the boat in the water for one. I promise you that much.
You ain't signing up for that boat with me?
I ain't trying to get embarrassed.
It would be a tough road to hoe against that bunch of dude. There is going to be some throats getting cut and that deal. There's some cold-blooded killers out there, man.
Look, I ain't afraid against fishing against nobody, but I'd like the odds to be a little bit better.
You're also not stupid either. Well,
up for speculation.
Last night, no.
Drop in the comments. Let me hear what you got to say.
Man, that's great, dude. Hey, this has been a blast. I appreciate you helping me put these together and do this. I hope all the viewers enjoyed it. Like we always say, if you're still listening or watching at this point, thank you. And also go seek help because you probably need it.
Yeah.
But we appreciate it anyway. Drop us a comment. Send us a text. We'll put the phone number one more time. 903-519-1542. Text us your topics or questions or anything you want
Hey,
to
what
cover
y'all
on
want
the
to
show.
hear? This is for y'all.
100%. We would much rather take this in the direction you guys want it. We're going to talk about fishing. It's always going to be about fishing, but we will take it in any direction you want to within that category, and anything that y'all want out of it, we want to deliver to you. So let us know.
Yes, sir.
What else?
Thanks and giggle.
Thanks and giggle. It's time to wrap it up. I got some business I got to take care of. Why don't you tell us, Bob? I got to go take care of somebody's business. Hey, sucker, come here.
The most interesting guy in the world just took a nap. Guys, here's the Fish Lyfe Podcast. Chris Blackman, Billy Lawson. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This highway does not know my name, and I don't care. No, I don't care. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.